feel that a majority of this group, this is not unanimous, but a majority of this group appreciated and enjoyed the welcoming to the court that Caitlin Clark got from Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner of the Phoenix Mercury in the WNBA yesterday. I felt it was a great moment, and a moment that many other WNBA stars could have done but did not do. I thought it was a great olive branch for Taurasi, for Griner, and really as a representatives of this WNBA star culture, these veterans who we feel have attacked Caitlin Clark, to show the respect that they did and to do it at the opening tip and to have Brittany Griner give her an extended message. I thought it was a really, really great look in the WNBA. I say majority because it's not unanimous. The person to my left, I think, feels a little different about this.
Boo!
I thought it was a great moment.
Tell us you hate dogs, too, while you're at it.
Love dogs. Listen, I'm going to do the cliche. No one loves women's basketball more than me. And I grew up in Connecticut, so I actually did watch it, throughout my life. The only point I would make, if instead of giving a handshake, you and I have been on, and Monty and Jay Stu, we've all been here through the Doug Gottlieb show. So this is not, we didn't just get on air at 5 Eastern time. I bring it up because if instead of a handshake to start the game, it was a Brittany Griner forearm where she's going for the ball but slaps Caitlin Clark's face and she crumbles to the ground, we're not waiting 2.5 hours to talk about it. So the only point I'm trying to make is that as the what's the right word? The drama, the whatever descriptive word you want to use to describe how other players have treated Caitlin Clark, as the vitriol, whatever it is, as that goes down, I also think the interest overall in the WNBA goes down. I just do.
You think that the back and forth of the hatred and the angst towards Caitlin Clark is the reason we have so much interest?
I think any friction creates interest, right? Like, Brady and Manning was more intense than Mahomes and Lamar. I think there was a genuine dislike between Brady and Manning for a long time. I don't think there's a dislike between Mahomes and whoever. I don't think, like, I'm not like mad that I'm not like, what competitor shakes Caitlin Clark's hand? I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that I hate to be a jerk, but I'm just going to say how I really feel. I don't think anyone
has never gotten you in trouble before either.
I don't think anyone was ever that interested, even 3-4 weeks ago, in the product on the court of the WNBA. Maybe not. There are some people maybe in this studio that were, but the vast majority of the consuming public wasn't nearly as interested in the product on the court as much as the drama. And now that the drama has gone down, I also feel, in addition, the interest has gone down as well.
Okay, interesting points. I know we've got some points.
Can I just get a quick? So it sounds, Aaron, like you want it to stay a little bit roller derby-ish. Like a little elbow here, a little stink eye there.
It's not that I want anything.
He's maybe better for the product.
I think
right
it
now.
makes it inherently less interesting when everybody's getting along. Yes.
But it can't be, though, Caitlin Clark versus the WNBA forever. I mean, they're going to have to.
I'm glad it isn't, because it got pretty dark there. And I'll be honest, I missed a lot of this. I was on vacation during the Olympic controversy and the flagrant foul with the other Chicago Sky player, not Angel Reese. It got
Kennedy
pretty
Carter,
Kennedy Carter. It got pretty dark. So I'm glad that, to your guys, all of your guys' points, that the vets are, that it was kind of a moment of like, hey, you're part of the club. We respect your game. We're going to compete our butts off when we play. But I do think it does make it inherently less interesting. I'm happy for Caitlin Clark because, like I said, I thought it got dark there for a minute, but I think it makes the product less interesting.
This is what I would say. The Pistons were the bad boys of the NBA, and they were disliked in the late 80s, early 90s. They won titles. There was the difference between them and the Lakers, them and the Bulls. I would not have wanted an entire NBA of Detroit Pistons teams.
I agree.
It's not what I would have wanted. And I felt that Caitlin Clark on Sunday finally got one. Like, one went her way. Like, otherwise it was everything was against her, absolutely everything. And it's not that Caitlin Clark is completely innocent. I just don't think most of this was brought on by her.
No.
And here's an instance where, guess what? It kind of shifted in her favor for once, which we hadn't seen in the first almost 2 months of the season. And I actually thought that was a good moment.
And to be clear, I'm happy for her. I'm just saying the product becomes less interesting. Like, the height of Lakers LeBron versus Golden State. Like there was a moment where you could tell that LeBron didn't really like all the attention that Steph was getting, and I think a lot of the Warriors guys didn't really love LeBron. Remember there was that weird, what was it? There was like a Halloween thing where Draymond dressed up as LeBron or did something, and you could tell they didn't really like each other, and that inherently made it more interesting than when it's just everybody's best friends. And so, but I'm happy because to your point, it's like it just felt like everybody was against Caitlin Clark for a minute, and it doesn't. The last 2 or 3 weeks, it hasn't felt that way.
Mossy.
So I agree with Aaron that people are tuning in for the drama, but I disagree with you that the drama is going away. Nobody wanted drama between Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark. That's not the drama that people were looking for. And so I think that moment was just kind of like, one, it felt organic after Diana Taurasi a week ago was asked, how do you feel about playing Caitlin Clark in the Fever? Oh, it's going to be fun. And that's all she said and looked away from the camera. So I thought it was a right moment because the drama wasn't there that people want. The drama is elsewhere. And I think that drama is going to continue because we're women. And we like to fight.
I think it's fine to have a rivalry between the Fever and
That's
Sky.
what I was going to say. Do you think it'll come back when they play Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
Because even Angel Reese, the last game, when Angel Reese had that great game and she was basically almost in tears in the postgame, it felt like that was a moment where it was only about basketball, and which is great, but it was less interesting than a week before when Angel Reese, and I don't think it was intentional, but had that really hard foul that created a whole discourse.
Of course, there's going to be more interest with them too, but I do think Angel Reese has her own fan base. So you may be less interested, but I really don't think that that's happening across. I think right now who's interested is tuning in. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry,
Jason Stewart.
I know other people want to weigh in.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you my personal journey with this, and I'm gonna say this because I think a lot of people are in my shoes. I thought or hoped that Caitlin Clark was going to be this transcendent figure that was in college on the WNBA level. I thought she was going to be torching logo threes and averaging 35 and putting it in people's faces. I tuned in for that, and then when I found out that she's like a mid-range to maybe decent WNBA player, that isn't interesting to me. But what filled that void was all the culture war stuff and all the haterade stuff. That's what did make it interesting. So I agree with Aaron completely. Her being liked and her being an average player isn't interesting.
Yeah, and I would jump in on that, and I'll just, again, this is only me. I can't speak for anybody else, certainly in this studio, let alone listening. But the first Sky game in which the hard foul, that was one where I saw that it was on TV, and I was like, oh, I should check this out. And then the foul happened, whatever. Then them playing a week later, I will admit, maybe it makes me a bad sports talk radio host, it was the first time I actively sought out a WNBA game. And I felt like that was the fever pitch of is something going to happen? Nothing happened, great game, back and forth, whatever. And I don't feel like even the interest in Caitlin Clark has been the same since then. But maybe it's because the schedule was so front-loaded, whatever. But I just don't feel like, since it just became about basketball, I don't feel like the interest has been quite the same.
I think that the drama that has gone on in the WNBA, and I mentioned it earlier on how long the season's gone, we're not even 2 months into the season. But the drama has made it feel like it was about 4 months or 5 months. And with what you guys were saying, what kept you interested was the drama. The only thing that I would say to that is that can only last so long. At some point, Caitlin Clark is going to have to be the mad bomber and develop into that player. And I think that she could be. I think that, and we've started to see flashes of that. It just didn't necessarily immediately happen. But this tension throughout the league was just not sustainable. Just like maybe her picking up from college right where she left off in the NBA maybe wasn't realistic. It would be too tiring for me to even watch the WNBA if this was just constantly what was going on, and here she was getting I don't want to say picked on because it sounds like such a schoolyard thing.
She kind of was, though.
It like after a while, you're just like, even when the Sky beat them like a little more than a week ago, like Angel Reese and Cheryl Swoops have this big hug, and Cheryl Swoops has been in the news because of what she said last year about Caitlin Clark and trying to diminish her scoring record. Like, that's going to end up being a rivalry, but just after a while, it just becomes tiring with everything. And it was nice to see Caitlin Clark actually win one.
I agree.
Because I don't think she's been winning a lot. And people may have a different opinion of that, but
winning personally or winning on the court? Because they have won a lot.
No, I'm
more
not talking.
games.
I'm not talking about games.
You're talking about her brand winning and
life.
her life.
She's been very, very. Yes.
Can I just add one thing? I think that if we're upset or worried about the Caitlin Clark drama and the interest level going into a lull right now, it's about to hit a real big lull when they go into the Olympic break. Her name's going to drop off the out of people's mouths.
Sure.